Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Bitcoin, the corridor that has been standing the test of time. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the Telegram channel, which you can find a link to in the description below. Now, one of the things we've mentioned is that this corridor, we developed it back in early 2021. And to be completely honest, it was developed as a joke. And I basically developed it to show how easy it is to develop indicators using PineScript. And since then, though, it has done a fairly decent job of identifying what is possible in the short term. Okay, now if you look at the entire history of this indicator, you can see that it's basically been fit to encompass the entirety of prior Bitcoin moves, and it doesn't typically exceed the bounds of this corridor. It can come close at times, but normally it will stay within the bounds. Okay, there have been some wicks below, but normally you can see it stays within the bounds. And we had a very crucial test back in the summer of 2021. It was kind of the first test to see how it would hold up, and it held up relatively well. If you zoom in to the daily time frame to kind of see like where we went back there in the summer, this is more or less what it did, right? We tested it four separate times, maybe even more, depending on how many wicks you count, but 4 separate times. And then today we just tested it again, and so far it is standing the test of time. Now you do need to remember that it is easy for indicators to look great when you fit them. I've seen a number of analysts say that a certain indicator has never failed in like 10 years of existence, but in reality, all of those indicators, they only look so great because they've just been fit, right? They've just been fit to 10 years of data. Doesn't mean that they are necessarily predictive in any way, but you have to be cautious with saying things like, oh, it's never failed in 10 years, when all you're simply doing is fitting something that's already occurred. And that's why back testing a model can actually give you a lot different results than if you actually implement it. Because when you back test stuff, you can fit it. It's hard to fit what happens in the future, right? But anyways, if you're curious where this indicator is now, it ranges from around 33K up to 125K. More specifically, from $33,266 up to $124,838. Now, it does vary, right? It changes all the time, but just to give you an idea of where it is today, those are the bounds, more or less from 33K up to $125,000. And so the idea is that in the short term, Bitcoin might actually respect these bounds. Okay, now you should know that if Bitcoin resumes a downtrend, then this thing can actually keep coming down, and we can always test it at a lower price, right? That's what actually happened in 2018. We didn't actually test it over here, but we did test it much later on, and that was the bottom, right? Whenever we went to it, this did end up being the bottom. And then in March of 2020, it was also the bottom when we hit it. And then again in the summer of 2021, it was more or less the bottom. We hit it 3 or 4 separate times, and then potentially, I don't want anyone to schedule their Forbes interview just yet, but potentially it could be the bottom. We don't know. We're hopeful, right? Plan for the, I would say hope for the best, plan for the worst. We're hopeful that it could be the bottom, but we simply do not know yet. But this is an indicator we will continue to follow. If you want access to this indicator, remember to check out the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. And then also I wanted to mention we still do have the 2 NFTs, the 2 Into the Cryptoverse NFTs that we recently launched. Whichever ones are not gone by February 8th, those will be burned. If you hold this one and then the other one that it mentions over here, the Panda Bear one, if you hold both of those in your address on May 3rd, you can claim a third NFT for free. I thought this NFT was pretty cool. It's got the Bitcoin army versus the ETH army, and I'm a bull for both of them. Okay, so I want to see them both do well, but certainly they do battle each other occasionally, and you'll see the Ethereum Bitcoin valuation go through periods where it's in an uptrend versus a downtrend. So check that out. We'll provide a link to that in the description below if you want to pick one up. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think of this indicator. Do you think it will continue to stand the test of time, which it's done so far, or do you think will ultimately break? It'll ultimately break. And by the way, maybe it breaks to the upside, right? I mean, it could break to the downside. It could break to the upside. It all depends on how quickly things happen. So imagine, I mean, if Bitcoin were to just go, let's say best case scenario, right? If it were to just go straight up, which it's not going to do, then it would seem that would be the theoretical limit according to this indicator. But if on the other hand, it does something like, like this, where it sort of slowly goes up, then by the time it could get to the top, the indicator could have pushed back higher. So that's the whole idea behind the indicator. It does change. It is dynamic. You have to give it the ability to change as the market conditions change. But so far, it has stood the test of time. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also we do have the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. See you guys next time. Bye.